Hey, what's going on? Tony Angelos, your Chicago real estate broker, and today I'm going to talk to you about the 12 pros and cons of living in Chicago as a lifelong local. Now, before you start dropping hate in the comments, yes, I did grow up in the suburbs, but I grew up 20 minutes outside of the city, and I was here all the time, and I've lived in the city for the past 10 years almost. Now, before we get into it, do me a favor, hit that black subscribe button and throw me a like, and let's jump right into the first pro. As a real estate agent, I feel like I have to talk about the cost of living because it is my job. But yeah, it's above the national average, but so is every single major metro area. However, if you're going to compare it to other major metro areas, we're substantially less expensive. I think according to CNN's cost of living calculator or whatever, according to CNN's cost of living calculator, a $100,000 salary in Chicago is the equivalent to a $200,000 salary in New York. Now, for number two, I'm going to talk about the people. The people in Chicago are so nice. Compared to people from, I'm not going to say any other big cities, but if I were, I would probably say like New York or something. The people are super nice here though. If you need a drinking buddy, if you want to go to the game with somebody, if you want to go eat with somebody, you could find something for everybody here. People are welcoming, people are polite, they'll say hi to you on the street sometimes if you look nice. Overall, it's a welcoming city. We're here to have fun, we're here for a good time, and if you don't believe me, come here on St. Patrick's Day and you will have the best time of your life. Number three on my list is the cultural amenities the city has to offer. I actually had to write this down because there were so many to list, but let me just rattle a couple of these off for you. We have over 100 museums, we have 13 ballet and dance centers, 10 opera houses, 10 symphonies, 8 major music venues, soon to be a couple more, 65 acting theaters, and over 100 neighborhood festivals and just major festivals a year. There is always something to do here if you are bored. Not only that, we have one of the best music scenes in the country with several jazz bars, blues bars, rock bars, you name it bars, so many things to do. Culturally, we're really hard to compete with. Speaking of culture, let's talk about the food. If you have not had deep dish pizza, don't come at me and say, oh, it's not pizza. It's disgusting. Get out of here with that garbage. You come here, you have Lou Malnati's, and you tell me that it's garbage. It is amazing. It will blow your mind. And not only that, deep dish is great, but the real sleeper hero of the city is our tavern-style thin crust. Pat's Pizza, Vito and Nick's, also Lou Malnati's. This is what you really got to try when you're here. It's the bar style, the tavern style. It's for quick and easy access. It's for having a good time. It's for sharing with friends. But aside from all the tropes of what Chicagoans like to eat, we have some amazing restaurants. I think we're the third ranked foodie city in the country. We have world-class restaurants, and according to Wallet Hub, Chicago ranks number one in the affordability and accessibility to highly rated restaurants category, 12th overall in the country, and ahead of places like LA and New York City. Yeah, you heard that right. We ranked ahead of LA and New York City. That being said, I'll do a bunch of other videos on my favorite restaurants in different neighborhoods, and there's so many to name. Probably too many for one video. But do me a favor, drop a comment if you want to see a specific neighborhood. I'll put that on my list higher up. Next up on our list, we have O'Hare International Airport. O'Hare International Airport has been ranked the #1 airport in North America for 19 years in a row. Yeah, 19 years in a row, the #1 airport in North America. Did I read that right? Yeah, I read that right. At the time of recording this video, O'Hare was ranked the most connected airport in the world by some global traveler magazine or something like that. But wherever you need to go, you can get there through O'Hare. That's a cheesy tagline. Okay, moving on. Number 6, public transportation. When you move to Chicago, you might think like, oh, you need a car, it's a big city. Maybe not though. Public transportation is really efficient here in Chicago. It's not perfect by any means, but it is really efficient and can get you almost anywhere in the city for like $2. So it's worth noting that you should think about where you're planning to move so that you have a short walk to one of the major CTA lines. The CTA was ranked number 6 in the nation for public transportation systems, which is amazing for the amount of scale that it has and that it services here in Chicago. Not only does it service the entire city itself, which is huge, but it also services 35 suburbs too. You can look up a map of the CTA to see where it goes, where the different lines go, and how to get around. So if you're moving here, think about bringing your car, just think about it a little more thoroughly. Parking can be very expensive here. The CTA is very efficient and it's very easy to use. So you could do a quick Google search for where you're moving to, see what the walk is to the next train stop, and decide whether or not you really need that. Moving on to number 7, I'm going to talk about housing costs. Chicago is actually a pretty affordable city. Yes, in some of our more costly neighborhoods, things get very expensive, but by and large, the city's median price right now, median sales price at least, is somewhere around the $350,000 or maybe $375,000 range at the time of this filming. Not only that, the median rent is somewhere around $2,000. Yes, if you're going to be looking at some of the luxury high-rise condominiums or apartments downtown, you would be looking at something way higher where things could get really crazy. I'm talking $3,000 plus for a one-bedroom or a studio even in some cases. By and large though, you have to figure out which neighborhood kind of fits your vibe and kind of see what the average prices are in that particular neighborhood, because they vary wildly. You can reach out to a local real estate agent or just send me a message and I can help guide you and figure out what might fit best for your personality and family style. Okay, moving on to number 8. Let's talk about architecture. One of the coolest activities you could do if you're visiting Chicago, in the summertime I should say, is take a trip on the Chicago Architecture Cruise, which goes up and down the river and points out some of the really significant buildings in the city skyline. Skyscrapers as we know them, you could thank us for it. After the Great Chicago Fire, they gave birth to the idea that, hey, what if we built with steel instead of wood? I bet we could get a lot higher. And we did. We rebuilt the city from the ground up, revolutionized the way the building was, and as a result, we have one of the most epic skylines in the world. Another really cool way to view the skyline, well, there's a lot of cool ways to view it. It's really cool when you're flying in and you see the city from on top, you fly over the city, that's real neat. But if you can, getting on a boat, because yeah, that's another pro too. We're right on Lake Michigan, so we have just this huge body of water that feels like an ocean, but it's not an ocean, and provides us with tons of fresh drinking water at all times. A lot of fun in the summer, but getting on a boat in the summertime, going out there, watching the sunset behind the city, it's just remarkable. If you just Google Chicago skyline, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's incredible. Whether you're a local or a visitor, I recommend doing some type of architecture tour. And for number 9, I'm gonna round out the pros here. How could I not talk about our sports culture? Who doesn't know Michael Jordan? Everybody knows Michael Jordan. The 90s Bulls, 6 championships, the Blackhawks, the Cubbies, the White Sox, and yeah, even the Chicago Fire, whatever. It's an amazing sports town and we really take a lot of pride in it. Even if you freaking hate sports, you tell me that you've never participated in any of the celebrations for any of our championships that we've had in recent years. I don't believe you. You're living under a rock then. You're just not fun. It is an incredible sports city for sports lovers and non-sports lovers alike, because sometimes it's just fun to kind of sit in the atmosphere. And whether you like baseball or not, catching a game at Wrigley Field in the bleachers on a Saturday afternoon is second to none experience. All right, if you're liking the video so far, drop me a like, give me a subscribe, and let's get into the cons, because yeah, there are some cons. I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. Winters suck. It gets very cold, it gets very windy. Sometimes we have rain, sometimes we have ice, sometimes we have snow, sometimes we have all 3 in the same day. It can be pretty brutal. However, as long as you dress appropriately and make use of public transportation, make use of the pedway system if you're working downtown, and just think a little bit before you go outside, you'll be okay. If you're living in an old building and you're concerned about pipes freezing or flooding or anything like that, there are ways to protect yourself so that you don't have that situation. And if you are worried about your landlord being a piece of crap and the heat running out, there are resources for that too, because Chicago has really strict tenant laws to protect you from stuff like that. So yeah, winters, they suck, but it's not the end of the world. It only lasts for a few months, and I guess December is kind of winter too. Christmas in Chicago is really awesome, but January, February suck, and then we're getting into March, which is St. Patrick's Day, April, May, then we're in the summer, and it makes the summer that much glorious. We love summer in Chicago. And if you're really struggling with the winter that bad, it's okay, we have O'Hare. You could get to pretty much any tropical destination in a short flight. So there you go, problem solved. Another con about Chicago that pretty much everyone around the world knows is our crime. We've got a long history of crime, political crime, gangsters, mobsters, Al Capone, John Dillinger, Babyface Nelson, and our current crime that you see in the headlines all the time. Chicago's history with crime is incredible. The amount of news Chicago gets on crime is incredible. However, it's not as bad as you actually think it is. Most of the crime is pretty localized in certain areas, and in terms of, crime rate per capita, or in most metrics actually, we kind of fall in the middle of a dangerous city. So you hear a lot on the media about what's going on here, and you might think that if you come to Chicago, you're gonna die. And that's not really the case though. Yeah, of course, keep your head on a swivel and don't do anything stupid. Don't walk around alone at night in alleys, but at the same time, it is a lot safer than most people think. And by and large, since the 90s, our crime rate has really improved, and the city's done a lot of work to make it so. All right, last con, traffic. Traffic is really bad here. There's no way around it, and we are the most congested city in North America, right in front of Boston and New York. I think traffic adds something like 150 plus hours to people's commutes every single year, which is why it's so important to take advantage of public transportation. But if you are driving, traffic is brutal. And it's not cheap either. There was a survey done, and based on the amount of time people spent in the car, drivers in Chicago spent $300 more in gas last year than anywhere else in the country. That probably has something to do with remote work. A lot of companies are only requiring people to come in once or twice a week, and as a result, maybe you don't want to pay for your CTA pass, and you're just like, oh, I'll just drive and pay that one day. A lot of drivers are on the road now, and it's taken a toll on the other drivers. It is bad out there. So think about that. Parking is expensive, driving takes a long time. All the more reason to consider whether or not you actually need a car. I'm a real estate agent, I need my car, but many people don't, and for a long time I never used mine. But then I sold it because I didn't need it. So there you have it. That's my list, my pros and cons of living in Chicago as a local. Let me know what you think. Maybe you're a local too, maybe I missed something. Drop a comment, let me know if I missed something that you think is a pro or a con one way or the other that should be included in this list. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.